Hi, this is RGK. Today we'll talk about two platformers, Duke Dashington and Super Lucky's Tale, and I will ramble on cultural requirements to review a game. Let's start with a short review of Duke Dashington. This game was released on mobile in 2014, and now it's back with a remastered version on PC. I loved it on mobile, I still love it on the PC. Dashington looks a lot like Wario and is also searching for treasure. The resemblance is also felt in the game mechanics, as he moves with dashes, just like Wario. Actually, it's his only way to move, dash left, dash right, dash up. It's a bit like flying in a straight line, dash right or left can be done mid-air, but dash up requires both feet on the surface. Each time we enter a room, there are 10 seconds to leave the screen, otherwise the temple collapses. What we have here is a very fast-paced game that also has a lot of checkpoints. There are no enemies, instead, it's like figuring out the right sequence for a puzzle, knowing where to hit the walls in which order. We think fast and execute our plan just as fast. It's very satisfying and stimulating. Dash movements are very refreshing compared to other games and their arc jumps, and I had a blast finishing the game. Might be too short though, it takes about 1 hour to complete and it's not very difficult. If you want to maximize your time on this game, there are achievements related to time trials or finishing temples without dying, but it's still a short game, thankfully quite cheap. If you enjoy 2D platformers, I recommend it. Let's move on to Super Lucky's Tale, a game published by Microsoft that will prove harder for me to evaluate. We play as a fox trying to protect a fantasy world against a bunch of tyrannical cats. Our range of movements includes a tailspin attack, a jump, then a weak double jump, and finally to burrow underground when it's not a solid surface. Graphics are very pretty, the world is bursting with life and beautiful sights. There is a lot of variety in the backgrounds, I never felt like assets were boringly reused. The pacing is great as well, with always different types of levels. We alternate between exploration, puzzles, classic 2D levels, and so on. It's very pleasant and never boring. There are always various things to do. Some find this game too easy. Dying brings back to a close checkpoint and we lose a life, but don't worry, there is no definitive game over. At worst we start back at the beginning of a level. I did not find the platforming that easy, but I will get back to this later. Still, I did find the puzzles child's play. Those who find the game too easy also point out that this game might be targeted at kids, but I find it alright for adults too, as long as you don't expect Super Meat Boy or something gory. It's a nice world to spend 6 to 10 hours in, but it's true that it's not hardcore like some other platformers. In terms of flows, I noticed that the camera wasn't free. We can orient it a little, but it stays in the direction that the developers chose. I guess that it's to avoid being confused or bothered by the camera, but at least free look mode should not have been so limited. Nothing too bad, just sometimes a bit disappointing. The only major flaw is related to performances. Sometimes the frame rate takes a dip, but nothing too bad except for sounds. Quite often, the sound is stuttering even though the action is not impacted. It's weird and uncomfortable, but not blocking. Now we come to the part that is bothering me. Do I recommend this game? To say that, I should evaluate it relative to the competition, and I have no idea. I can't compare it to Spyro, Mario Odyssey, or the celebrated indie game A Hat in Time. I never played them. I've never been very fond of 3D platformers as I find it difficult to get to grips with the jumps. I know that I have to watch the shadow instead of the character, but have a lot of trouble with that, and even in Super Lucky's Tale I often died stupidly by falling behind the background. I don't know if it's me or just that I lack practice, but I'm very frustrated by 3D platformers. It's no accident that my favorite is Alice Madness Returns with its very comfortable quadruple jumps followed by gliding. I had a huge margin for error. I played a few 3D platformers on Nintendo 64, such as Conker's Bad Fur Day, which I enjoyed. However, I hated it when Rayman 2 switched the series to 3D. I gave up after a few levels of Mario 64, and I didn't even try all the rest. Okay, there is still Rayman 3 that I enjoyed and finished on PC, but that's it. I lack the 3D platformer culture to be a good judge of games in that category. I don't have the right tools to evaluate Super Lucky's Tale with good knowledge. I can't compare it to the rest of the genre. It's important to have enough culture to evaluate a piece of art. When doing this review, I wonder whether this cancels the relevance of my opinion. It's a good question after all. Even though I am a veteran reviewer, is it required for me to have enough experience within a specific subdomain before my opinion becomes relevant? Indeed, my opinion will not be helpful to a seasoned player of the genre. All I can do is more or less attract their attention to the game. Thus, my opinion is much more useful to someone like me, not familiar with 3D platformers, just looking for something nice to enjoy for themselves or their children. If that's the case, then yes, Super Lucky's Tale is pleasant and well done. I'm still aware that it's probably not a must-have. It doesn't seem to bring anything new to the genre. It costs between $15 and $20 whether it's on sale or not, so up to you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!